What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have an interesting video for you guys. I was actually just watching YouTube and a video from Boogie2988 popped up. If you're not familiar with who that is, I made a video about him recently, but he's a very large YouTuber. He has over 1 million subscribers, and he just recently went through gastric bypass surgery, so he's going on a weight loss journey right now. The video that he made was, why did he get as large as he got? Because I believe he's over 400 pounds for sure, and so he was making a video kind of talking about what made it to where he got as heavy as he did, and he made a lot of points that I honestly, like, when he was talking about what he's gone through, it really brought things up for me that I haven't really thought about in a long time. If you haven't seen that video, I'll make sure that I link it down in the description down below so you can kind of check it out and kind of get where the points that I'm making off of his videos are from. It's a great video, definitely recommend checking it out, but let's get into why I believe I got to be as heavy as I was. So first things first, I do want to say that I have made a video that's kind of similar to this, but I am trying to make a couple different points that I didn't make in that first video. So if you feel like you've seen something kind of similar to this, that would be why. So let's get into why I believe I got as heavy as I did. Now, I was not a kid that right when I was out of the womb, it looked like I was gonna be overweight. Like, I wasn't a 2-year-old walking around that was already overweight, but I did start gaining weight very early in my life. I actually had a hernia when I was, I want to say like 6 years old, 5 years old maybe. I was really young, and it's right when I got the surgery removed and I was put on bed rest is when I actually started gaining weight. Now, I'm not going to say that it was because of the surgery that I gained weight or because of the medicine. I have no idea why, or because I was bedridden. I don't know why, but that's when I started gaining weight. So when I was 5 or 6 years old is when I started gaining weight, and when people started to call me husky, and they started to be like, oh, you'll grow out of it, you'll get taller, and the weight will disperse better. I was dealing with weight issues from a very, very young age. So when people see a kid that's like, 5, 6, 7 years old that's already struggling with gaining weight, they obviously want to blame the parent, and that was exactly what would happen to my mom. Now, a little bit of backstory on my life as a child and the things that I've been through. I've talked about this with my mom on the channel before. When I was about 3 years old, I actually got taken away from my parents, me, my brother, and my sister. I have a lot of siblings, but the 3 siblings that were closest in age, me, my brother, and my sister, were all taken away from my mom because she was a drug addict. And this is stuff she talked about online, so don't worry, I'm not like telling family secrets or anything like that, but she was a drug addict, and she was her life then was very different than it is now. We were taken away from her, and luckily, thank God, we were, she was able to go to a Christian rehabilitation place, and she was able to get clean. She found God, and that's how we got put back with her. So luckily, after a year, we were able to go back with my mom. My dad was in the house for a little bit, but he ended up leaving, right? So basically a single parent. She's trying to raise 3 kids. She obviously didn't go to college or anything like that. So the amount of money that she makes was minimal. So we didn't have that much money. This is what she says. Like, if I wanted to eat some food or if I wanted to get something, she always kind of felt that guilt of us getting taken away from her because of the decisions that she made. So she would just say yes, and she would get us those meals. And the thing that's important for people to realize, especially with my story at least, is that I had 2 other siblings and we were eating the same food, but I was gaining weight. So obviously my mom's not a nutritionist. She's not a, she doesn't know anything about that. She just knows that, my brother John and my sister Evelyn aren't gaining weight, but for some reason John David is, and I don't understand why. A lot of the reasons that I believe that I started gaining weight as a child was because my mom wanted to give what she could to us, and what that was dollar menu foods and things that, obviously, if you're a kid, you want to eat candy all the time, you want to have fast food all the time, and we couldn't afford anything else. So obviously, if she can get us a $1 hamburger, she's gonna do that because that's all that she could do at the time. And so that's kind of why I believe that I started gaining weight as a child, and I just didn't have that healthy food in the house. So I'm going through elementary school, I'm going through middle school, and obviously, like, I've gotten used to eating like that. That's just how I eat. And soda was literally like, I drank soda all the time with every meal. And it wasn't like, I didn't even think of, oh, soda is bad for you. It's just, yeah, you drink soda with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's just like, that's your beverage. I didn't drink water. Like, it's just not how I was raised. It's not what we knew. So I started gaining weight. And the thing that was frustrating, especially for my mom, was, again, I'm gaining weight, but my brother and my sister aren't. So she didn't really understand what was going on, and she doesn't want to be the parent that's like, okay, John David, you need to stop eating, but John and Evelyn, you guys can continue. Like, she's not going to do that. So through elementary school and middle school, I was definitely heavier than most of the kids, but it wasn't too big of an issue, at least from what I could remember. Maybe towards the end of middle school, people were starting to really, really notice. And then if we go into high school is when it became much more of an issue. So obviously when you're in high school, you are older and you have a little bit more independence, and for me, independence meant I was able to make more choices, and those choices were mainly about food. So I would literally go to Taco Bell every single day after school when I was in high school. It just became routine to me, and just the amount of soda that I would drink, and when you get to a point when you're as overweight as I was in high school, I was definitely considered obese by then, you don't really think that you just think that this is how I'm gonna be. Like there's nothing I can do, because obviously I had tried to lose weight. High school was such a crazy time for me, but you know, I tried to lose weight a couple times and it just didn't work out, and I just felt like there's no way for me to lose weight, and just trying is just, it's just putting too much, like, I would give people hope. I would feel like I would give my family hope, or like all these other people that really cared about me, I would give them hope, and then I would fail, basically. And that's just how I felt. I felt like I was just failing everybody. So honestly, like, I got to a point where I was like, I don't even want to try to lose weight anymore. I don't want to tell anyone that I try to lose weight anymore, because I've failed people so many times, and I just felt so bad about it that I just kind of wanted to just be like, you know what? I'm never gonna lose weight. I'm never gonna try anymore. This is just how I'm gonna be for the rest of my life. Fast forward to when I graduated, and this is kind of when I want to bring up some of the stuff that Boogie says in his video. In his video, he talks a little bit about how he had suicidal tendencies. I'm not at all saying that I had that, but he was saying that, you know, for him, food was everything. Food was, it made him happy. It was literally everything to him, and I completely agree with that statement. Like, that's exactly how I felt. And he says in his video that people would tell him, like, well, if you don't lose weight, like, you're gonna die sooner. He would say, like, that didn't bother me, because if you take away food from me, I don't really have anything to live for. I don't really want to live if I can't eat the way that I'm eating, because it's literally the thing that gives me all the comfort in the world. Like, if everything's going wrong, at least I have food. So why would I take that away from myself? Like, if, yeah, I might live longer, but I would just feel like I have nothing to live for. That's exactly how I felt. And those are thoughts that I haven't even thought about until I saw that video, because I remember people would be like, you need to lose weight because of X, Y, and Z, right? But in my head, I'm like, that would mean that I would have to change the way that I eat. And eating for me is literally like the most important thing to me. Like, this is everything to me, so why would I want to give that up? Circling back to all the times that I had tried to lose weight before, I was in the mindset that there's no way that I can lose weight. Like, I genuinely thought there was literally no possible way I would lose weight. So why would I even try? Because, like, in my head, it was like, I'll lose 10 pounds, and then I'll gain it back, and then everyone that was so excited about me trying to lose weight again is gonna be let down, and then I'm gonna have to be embarrassed by telling everyone that I gave up. And it was just this whole thing that I was like, I don't even wanna deal with that. So obviously, through all of that, I'm just gaining more and more and more weight to where I ended up being 360 pounds. I feel like there's a point where you kind of just stop caring. I've said this before in videos, but I was not looking forward to the next day. You know, 20 years old, I didn't care about what was happening tomorrow. Like, I didn't look forward to the next day. So when people would say, like, don't you want to lose weight because, like, then you'll live longer, and then, like, for me, I just didn't care anymore. And I'm not saying that I was at all suicidal, but I guess for me, food just became everything to me. So the thought of wanting to give that up to maybe attain this life that I never felt like I would get anyways, it just, for me, it was like, why even try? You know, why even try? Because for me, food is everything. Like, I love food so much. Why would I give that up? That's the only thing that's been there for me, you know, from when I was a child. Like, why would I want to give that up? And that's kind of the mindset that I had, I guess, adopted over so many years of being overweight for so long. And then if we fast forward to, you know, that day that I decided that I wanted to lose weight, and I had that amazing click moment that I've talked about so many times. Like, I wish that I could tell you exactly how to get there. I wish that I could tell you exactly how it felt, but it's just one of those things that I really can't explain. Obviously, I'm very grateful for it, but there's nothing for me. Like, if I could give you that feeling, I 100% would do that, but I just don't think that that's possible. I really do believe that there's a difference between, you know, maybe someone that might be 20 pounds overweight compared to someone that's like, you know, 180, 200, 300 pounds overweight. And I feel like the main difference, honestly, is like that connection with food and that relationship with food and the mental stuff that kind of goes along with that. Like, obviously, if you're 20 pounds overweight, you're probably just eating a little bit more than you're burning. You know, your calories in versus calories out, that's probably just a little bit of an issue. Maybe stop drinking on the weekends, whatever it might be, right? But there's like a couple things that you could probably probably change that will, you know, make it so you can lose that little bit of weight. But once you start getting into the really, really high numbers, I feel like with most people, especially with myself, it's a lot more mental than it is physical. Like, obviously I was eating a lot of food, and I'm not saying that like it was completely my fault. Once I got out of high school, like, I'm not blaming my mom. I would never blame my mom or anyone else. Like, I was making the decisions, but I was going through these mental battles, and I just felt so connected to food. So honestly, like, losing the weight, the easy part for me was to just, you know, cut calories and stuff like that, but it was the mental battle that I kind of had to fight, and like that I fought for a very, very long time. I'm just getting to a point where I feel like I have a healthy relationship with food, and I'm not relying on food to be, you know, my comfort and all of that stuff. But I definitely feel like there's a little bit of a difference between, you know, maybe being 20 pounds overweight compared to being maybe like 200 pounds overweight. Boogie says this in his video, and I completely agree, and I've actually had the same conversations with people, but he's talked to people, and so have I, about people that have, you know, lost weight and then gained it back, and then lost weight and then gained it back. And whenever I talk to them, it's always because like the mental stuff, they haven't dealt with the mental stuff. And that's why I feel like when it comes to losing massive amounts of weight, people need to realize that it's not just calories in versus calories out. Obviously, to lose the physical weight, yes, I believe that that's very, very true. But when it comes to like the mental stuff, you have to focus on that when you're losing your weight, because if you don't, you'll just end up gaining it back. And obviously that's the last thing I want anybody to do. To close out this video, I do want to say that I am not at all trying to make excuses for me getting to the size that I was. I 100% put the blame all on myself. I would never blame my mom. I would never blame anyone other than myself. But I just thought this video would be cool to kind of share with you guys, you know, my past as to why I ended up getting as heavy as I did. And again, I want to say thanks to Boogie for making your video, because it totally inspired this video. Again, if you haven't checked out that video, I will link it down in the description. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys would like to share your story on as to why maybe you got to where you are, if you're heavier or whatever it might be, I would love to hear your stories down in the comment section down below. But again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, look how buff I am.
Obey the warning signs, and when there are flashing lights or wigwags, don't attempt to cross until they come to a complete stop.